Looks like the big moment has arrived. This time, I will do things differently. It is your turn, Kakarot. This time, we will no longer be made pawns by the gods. Goku, you're in total disadvantage in fighting Mr. Beerus' Hakai form, but even so, he keeps smiling. This time, I already made my decision. What was your choice, Mr. Goku? Will you join us and become a destroyer? I've waited a long time for this, son Goku. It's time to define who will be the destroyer of everything. Just like the thought of the gods, I've never agreed with anything, and thinking that you can choose what you want whenever you want and make mortals your own pawns make me extremely frustrated for that. My choice is to become a god killer, a true killer of the gods. You really are very powerful, Mr. Beerus. Looks like the big moment has arrived. Goku, you're in total disadvantage in fighting Mr. Beerus' Hakai form, but even so, he keeps smiling. I've saved this transformation to use against you! I live for this day! It doesn't even look like it's the true same Lord Goku as before. His skin is similar to the skin of the angels. Could it be that he was able to activate his transformation because he finally completely mastered his Ultra Instinct? Son Goku, you had no chance. I always knew that. Mr. Beerus. This won't do any good. You know it. Right? This time, we will no longer be made pawns by the gods. You're right. I don't know what happened to this reality's Goku. What incredible power is that? It doesn't even look like it's the true same Lord Goku as before. Son Goku, you had no chance. I always knew that. This is impossible. How did you manage to do this? You will know my true power, Beerus.
Goku! Oh, you've changed a lot! Now your transformation is all blue!
His skin is similar to the skin of the angels. Could it be that he was able to activate his transformation because he finally completely mastered his Ultra Instinct? You're next, Mr. Whis. So that's it. That was the power of the Saiyan of prophecy. That Saiyan who defies and denies all God's decisions. Well done, Mr. Goku. I had already forgotten. In fact, this whole time I just wanted to forget, but I lost them all.
Seeing Goku in his blue form with that symbol on his chest, Liquid understand that he was a god killer. Someone who obtained such hatred of the gods that he was able to reach an unimaginable level. Arriving thus at an unparalleled level of skills, Liquid knew that the fight would be more difficult than he ever imagined. But he was not afraid, because he was still a deity. But before the fight begins, he asks,
Goku, does the great Zeno-sama knows you're hunting the gods?
And Goku looks at him calmly with his murderous gaze, and then a light breeze makes his hair sway in the wind. This instant, he says,
Yes, Zeno-sama gave me permission.
Liquid closes his hand with all his strength. His arm starts to shake, and then he closes his eyes and says,
I understand.
At this moment, Vados watched those two beings facing each other, and admiring this moment, she murmurs, what is going on through their heads? Liquid looks around and sees Vados in the distance, watching the confrontation, and then he says to Goku,
Oh, that angel is with you, isn't she? I see Zeno has decided to get rid of us, and for one who intends to become a god slayer, even a traveling companion has been provided.
Goku smiles and says, she's here because she wanted to come. I don't care about her. Liquid responds,
It's okay. She's insignificant anyway. Very good. Let's start our fight, Lord Slayer of Gods!
And Goku says, I thought you'd never ask. Let's go then! At this moment, Liquid starts to go on top of Goku with a powerful punch. Goku bends his body completely backwards, seeing the god's fist pass before his eyes. Liquid looks down in awe at Goku's speed, who shoots a juice upwards to hit the belly of the deity, who with the other hand holds Goku's fists, pulling him up, and then swinging him down and throwing him, Goku, into the air using your ki. At this very moment, it propels itself upwards from Liquid. He spins in the air, dodging Goku's onslaught, hitting him in the back with a small energy sphere that explodes, creating a slight pressure in the air, causing Goku to be thrown a few meters away. Liquid gets its tail to boost and fly towards Goku. Vados observes, impressed with the start of the fight. The fight is in fact well balanced, but for a small difference, Liquid still has the advantage. Vados then says, he is really strong and has amazing skills, but can Goku really win? Liquid begins to fire a sequence of extremely strong punches, but Goku dodges without difficulty, trying to find a gap in the defense of the god, who ducks down, delivering a blow with his heel, which when hitting Goku throws him hundreds of meters away. At this instant, Liquid exclaims, now it's my chance! He propels his body in the direction that Goku threw himself in, propelling himself through the air towards the Saiyan. With his hand outstretched, he screams, Akai! And a purple sphere of energy is created in the palm of his hand. An aura takes over his body, and there, at this moment, he says, oh, you're gone! And when approaching Goku, he recovers and hits Liquid's arm, causing the energy to be thrown to the other side. Goku sees that destructive energy heading towards Vados, who stands without moving, just looking at that power. Goku then touches his forehead with his fingertips and uses his teleportation to appear in front of Vados, and using his hand to strike that Hakai, hurling him up the energy sphere of destruction and thrown into space in seconds. Vados stares and Goku looks back out of the corner of his eyes and says in a serious tones, are you okay? Vados then responds, you didn't need to come here. I could repel it easily. Goku then says, I know that. I just don't think it's fair that you have to work hard for a fight that isn't yours. So do not worry. I will not let my guard down again. And I won't let you be in danger again. I will be here to protect you. But I don't need protection. Vados right now has reddened cheeks and is feeling ashamed. But Goku had made a kind gesture towards her even though he knew she wouldn't need protection. Goku at this point looks at Liquid and screams, "Let's keep on fighting! Are you ready?" Goku raises his ki and his energy overflows around him. Goku raises his ki and his energy overflows around him. An energy dragon begins to emerge. Being formed by his ki, Vados looks amazed at such destructive power. And Liquid is amazed too. But he has no intention of weakening and starts screaming. "Arrgh!" The god of destruction's ki creates dense energy. He becomes enveloped in purple energy that begins to cover the entire environment, disintegrating everything it touches. Goku looks at him seriously, and the two fly towards each other. Goku's eyes filled with fury, Liquid's eyes completely covered by his rage. And suddenly the two begin to collide. A gigantic shockwave covers the entire planet, causing immeasurable destruction to dissipate everywhere. Vados wraps herself in an energy barrier and can't see a thing. Dust, smoke, and energy remnants cover the entire view. A few moments later, when all that smoke starts to dissipate in the distance, we see a silhouette. Then Goku's arm that has his hand bleeding, the labored breathing, the god killer form fell apart. Goku is completely naked, looking up to see clouds over the sky. Acid rain starts to fall, and when it touches his skin, a little smoke starts to rise where the drops fall. Goku's forehead is bruised, and on his body numerous bruises are apparent. The battle has been intense. However, when we see the fallen Liquid covered in his own blood, we are certain Goku was the winner, and he will just defeat another god. But his body was badly hurt. In his distant thoughts, Goku is watching the sky and feeling the raindrops fall on his shoulder. And in his mind, he wonders, why did the gods bring us to this point? These incredibly powerful beings could only be good. They chose a destructive path. Goku clenches his fist and continues to say, how many worlds have suffered from their wrath? How many races have already been exterminated by their whims? Goku looks around and says, what is the meaning of such destruction? At this moment, Goku falls to his knee. After all, he was out of energy after the battle. But Vados appears in front of him, touches his face, and says,
you don't need to suffer so much, Goku. Everything is about to end. You have taken one more step towards the great truth. And when you're done, you'll understand everything.
At this moment, Goku passes out and everything goes dark. Far away at the ends of the universe, we see a battle taking place. Two extremely skilled warriors fight amidst the stars. Their punches are incredible. The planets around them move around them, losing their stability, and that battle was simply great. The warriors made the stars shiver, the worlds move, and even the darkness of space was lit by the glow of their energies. And the light of the universe gained darkness with the shadow cast by their attacks. An imposing and extremely calm voice heard across the immensities, and that voice says, it finally started to happen. And another voice answers, we've waited for thousands of years, haven't we? And the other being responds with eyes full of happiness, it's time for the real destruction to begin. And the other responds, and rebuild with creation itself. Those were the two primordial gods indeed, the supreme deities, known as creation and destruction, two brothers who faced each other in an eternal battle, building and destroying each other, rising every second and falling at every movement. And in this moment, their battle ended at last. They realized the real battle was yet to come. Amidst the void of the cosmos, Goku and Vados travel inside his cube. Goku is exhausted after the third battle. In his mind, several doubts are rising. Everything is getting intense and confused. Vados is thoughtful. After all, she does not understand the feeling she was acquiring when traveling with Goku. Vados looks to the side and sees how Goku was feeling. But when she looks, she realizes that Goku is lying down. The exhaustion of the combat was so much that he had entered a deep sleep, so Vados decided to drive the cube more slowly so that he could recover the energies. Goku is in a deep sleep state, and in his dreams, memories of the past consumes him. This Goku God Killer, was a Goku that had emerged from another reality. In his original reality, catastrophic events made him change. This Goku had lost his friends and his family, so he was alone, completely lost. And when he was brought to that reality, he obtained the powers of a God Killer. And in his thoughts, these memories made him suffer. Vados, seeing Goku's torment, uses her staff to calm him down. A glow covers the entire cube, and in that instant, Goku's dreams are altered and he's finally able to sleep in peace. In a distance, lost amidst the frontier of universes, at the end of what we know, we see two beings wandering through space, creation and destruction. The supreme gods travel towards infinity, looking for a path that will show them the opportunity to make them find their destiny. Meanwhile, we see another universe. We can observe Geras, goddess of destruction of the universe too, on a rocky planet. With grey plains, a frozen world, we see the destroyer deity of Universe 2 looking around. And at this moment, she begins to reflect and says,
"It's been a while since in the gods of destruction we were abandoned by angels. I wonder what's going on. Where have all the angels gone?"
The goddess of destruction had already walked alone for a long time in thought. After all, sometime in several universes, angels abandoned their respective gods of destruction apparently for no reason. However, as everyone knows, this was yet another order from Zeno-sama, who had lost the trust of the gods, ordering all the angels to return to their palace so that they could decide who would replace these gods after Goku exterminated them. Geras, goddess of destruction of the universe 2, she's tired of being alone, and at this moment she makes a decision. She looks around her and says, "I'm tired of waiting on this goddamn planet. I'll go find out what's going on myself." And so at this moment, she flies off into space. And she says,
"I'd rather go to another world than stay here waiting."
So before leaving the planet's atmosphere, she creates a small sphere of energy in her hand and says, and she leaves the atmosphere in a matter of seconds. That world disintegrates, thus disappearing. And she begins to wander through space. On the other side of the universe, inside the Vados cube, she watches Goku, but in a few moments, he starts to wake up, and when he wakes up, he asks for Vados. "Where are we? Have we arrived in another universe yet?" Vados responds,
"Welcome back, Mr. Goku. We're already in Universe 2. Here we can find a goddess of destruction."
Goku then observes and responds, "How long did I sleep?" Vados responds,
"In Earth time, well, you slept for 3 days. But it looks like you've recovered. And I see you got stronger too. Lord Goku, with each fight, you become even more powerful."
Goku then says to Vados, "Seems like we've wasted a lot of time, huh?" And Vados responds,
"An important time for you to recover. Don't be rushed. Everything will be resolved at the right time."
Vados stops and stares at Goku, who is sitting on his legs crossed in front of him. And then Goku says, "What is it? Why are you staring at me?" Vados then says,
"You're not the Goku that belongs to this reality, are you? I see there's something different about you."
Goku then responds, "You're right. I don't know what happened to this reality's Goku, but I was sent here to fulfill a mission for the gods. But over time, I understood that the gods are not good." Vados then continues to ask,
"What happened to your family in your reality?"
And Goku gets sad. He lowers his head and looks down. And at this moment he responds, "I had already forgotten. In fact, this whole time I just wanted to forget, but I lost them all." Vados gets extremely serious. And Goku continues to say, "Here in this reality, everyone's fine. Everyone was happy to see me. And it's not the same. And even though I'm here surrounded by everyone I know, I'm still alone. Right now, Vado is approaching. She bends down and touches Goku's face and says,
If it's up to me, you won't be alone anymore.
Vados' cheek is flushed and Goku glares at her. And suddenly the two stand up embarrassed. Some time passes, and traveling through the universe, the two come across something. As they approach, they notice that traveling through space was the goddess of the universe 2 right in front of them, close to the orbit of a nearby planet. That planet's gravity pulls the two towards it, which inevitably falls into the planet. The two take an incredibly powerful hit, destroying everything they hit before falling. And when falling to the ground, a gigantic explosion takes over of everything. The goddess and Goku recover and stands up. But Jairus, the goddess, approaches and says to Goku,
You asshole! What does she think you're doing? Why did you do it?
And without much talk, Goku uses his God Killer transformation and decides to go for it anyway. The goddess then says,
I see you don't want to talk, do you? Alright, let's get this over with.
At this moment, she raises her arms and gigantic purple ones are attracted. By slamming their hands together, those gigantic boulders spin Goku in the air, creating an incredibly loud bang. Goku, who was stuck in the middle of those gigantic stones, he releases his energy and makes them explode. Goku emerges from thousands of debris. The wind makes his hair sway and his aura emanates an incredibly powerful energy. The goddess is surprised to see and is stunned by what she is in front of her. At this point, she asks,
Who sent you? Why are you so powerful?
Goku responds, Zeno-sama. He's the one who sent me. And I am powerful enough only by my desire to kill all the gods. At this moment, then she calms down, takes a deep breath, and begins to fly slowly upwards. And after that, she says,
And then fine. If you want to destroy me, give it a try.
She propels herself towards Goku, begin to exchange numerous attacks. The battle becomes more and more intense. Goku holds her by the leg and begins to spin, throwing her towards the mountains that, when they collide with her, are left in pieces. You can see explosions happening everywhere. That world starts to crumble in a matter of minutes, and everything is being destroyed. Spheres of energy of destruction are thrown from all sides, but Goku manages to repel them all with his fists wrapped by his own energy. The battle becomes more and more destructive. Meanwhile, in Zeno-sama's palace, Daishi-kun approaches Zenos, who was watching the fights on screen. And this second he says,
Mr. Zeno, looks like Goku is doing pretty well against the gods. He has already defeated some and already entered into combat with another.
Zeno responds,
Goku really is amazing, isn't he? Looks like this is all going to end faster than we thought.
Daishi-kun agrees. Universes, we see two entities closer and closer to the reality we know. Looking for it out for a long time, and soon the beginning of the end would begin. Goku continues his battle fiercely. The goddess is more and more excited about the confrontation. At this moment, the two exchange incredibly powerful blows. The mountains around them are destroyed and the clouds spread across the sky. And the battle becomes more and more fierce and destructive. Vados watches, and when she sees how fierce the fight is, she is ecstatic to see Goku's attacks. Vados is more and more in awe with him, and little by little, feelings arise in her. Feelings that she was unaware. After all, she had not felt anything like this before, and the every battle she worries more and more, and with every blow that Goku landed, she was filled with joy. Meanwhile, in the battle, Goku flies up and raises his arm. Goku will use an extremely powerful technique and starts to raise his ki. It is a sphere of energy that grows bigger. Goku is giving it his all, and moments before launching the attack, his energy begins to drain out of his body. At that moment, Goku is hit by an extremely powerful blow to his stomach. Goku bends down and his mouth begins to bleed. The battle is getting longer, and he still hasn't found gaps in the defense of the goddess of destruction. But not everything is over. Goku raises his ki, and with each passing second, his aura and energy increase in an incredible, absurd way. And his attacks, they start to get more and more destructive and powerful. At this moment, Goku hits the goddess with an extremely powerful punch, throwing her away, and then hitting a mountain that explodes, causing a smoke screen to form around everything, making it difficult to see what's going on. At this moment, Vados observes, but she cannot see the battle with so much dust and smoke around. However, a few seconds later, the smoke begins to dissipate, and at this moment, we can observe Goku hitting the goddess with a sequence of punches and kicks that makes her be pushed back. The two start to get out of breath, but they don't give up. Neither Goku nor the goddess surrender to the incredible strength of each other, who have only one objective: to win the battle. Goku wants to annihilate all the gods of destruction. Goku starts delivering several kicks, thus directly hitting the goddess, and at this moment he joins his hands holding each other and delivers a blow using both arms, throwing her further away. However, she uses her ki to stand still in the air, propelling herself and flying towards Goku again. At this moment she stretches her fists and hits Goku's face with an extremely powerful punch. He grabs the goddess' leg and throws it in the opposite direction. But she doesn't let Goku's strength get out of her, and so she holds Goku's fists, who tries to hit her with a punch, then throws him down in a high speed with an absurd force. Goku hits the ground, opening a gigantic crater on that little planet that slowly wandered through space. At this time, Goku, recovering quickly by getting up and dusting off his body, he begins to concentrate his ki. An immense wave of energy begins to form, lifting all the stones and gigantic rocks around it. Goku is feeling it, very angry at the gods of destruction. In a battle position, from inside the crater, Goku stares at the car and sees the goddess of destruction standing in the air, in an open field, as if she were mocking the situation. Goku is filled with fury and uses his teleportation quickly, appearing behind his opponent. He creates a sphere of ki in the palm of his right hand and launches it against the back of her Sherry, which is propelled forward, causing the impact to burn her clothes. Jairus for a moment can't believe the speed of Goku used and the incredible skill he possessed. At that time, Jairus uses her speed and flies towards Goku, so she asks, "Hey! Why don't you join the gods of destruction with your powers? With these powers and ours, could be the most powerful beings in all the universes. No one could defeat us, not even the great Zeno-sama." Goku, outraged by the absurdities he just heard, says, "I would never join beings like you! You are the cruel and childish tyrants and use people only for your own benefit. I would never become that. There's only one thing I can guarantee you. I will end all gods of destruction. This is the end for you and all the gods I meet. Never again will you use people this way. You will never again treat other beings as inferior." With eyes full of fury, Goku goes towards her and starts hitting blows that she can't avoid. The Saiyan grabs her by the hair and starts dragging her against the ground. At this moment, Goku gets the upper hand and is managing to reach all the attacks. The goddess does not have enough strength to prevent Goku from overcoming her. At the same moment, Goku starts to say, "Now finally all the gods of destruction will get what they deserve, and I will give you some of the fear and despair you caused." Goku begins to use his ki that expands, and by screaming, his aura begins to gain unimaginable proportions. Goku screams, "Ah!" And his fury and aura increase so that the goddess' body begins to burn little by little. Her arms, her legs, belly, and face starts to be sprayed with Goku's powers. And in a few moments, she's completely turned to dust. Goku becomes the victor of the battle, and Vados fly towards him. This time, Goku's injured, but his wounds are much smaller than in previous fights. With each battle, he gets stronger, a little more. And right now, Vados questions, "Mr. Goku, are you okay?" And Goku, looking down, doesn't say anything, and she insists, "Goku, tell me, how are you feeling?" She asks, and she walks over and touches Goku's shoulder, who looks seriously at her. And so she asks, "What was that?" In less than a millisecond, Goku holds her, and by holding her, he turns back to his normal form. And at that moment, a gigantic wave of energy hits them. A flash takes over everything, and only a hum hangs in the air. Meanwhile, on the dawn of the universe, the primordial gods feel an incredibly powerful energy build up, and at this moment they are sure that their destiny is approaching. Back on the battlefield, we see Goku lying next to the Vados, and a being holding their legs of both drags them. Goku starts to wake up slowly and looks to the sides. This instant, he sees Vados shuddering. He asks, "What's going on here?" At this moment, he looks at the being that was dragging him, and he noticed that that being was wearing a God of Destruction suit. At that moment, Goku screams, "What do you think you're doing?" Goku stretches out his hand and prepares to attack, but that being throws him against a rock, and at that moment, that being approaches slowly and starts to laugh. So you're the great God Slayer. I can't believe someone so insignificant is causing so much trouble. Goku watches and at that instant realizes the one in front of him is Vermoth, the God of Destruction of Universe 11. And at this moment, this deity holds Goku by the hair and says, "In this universe, I am not as strong as I am in mine. But even so, I will still end with you." Vermoth looks at Vados and says, "Is this traitorous angel accompanying you? I'll get rid of her too." At this moment, Vermoth points his finger and shoots a blast of laser beam that hits the chest of Vados, piercing her. And then she falls on the floor, and she closed her eyes. Goku looks at her, and it makes him extremely furious. And in the distance, we can just hear Goku's voice slowly say in a sad tone, "Vados, forgive me." Vados, lying there on the ground, drowning with her own blood, tries to reach her staff that had fallen, but Vermoth approaches and kicks the object away. And at this moment he says, "Don't think I'm here to let you take the crap to cure yourself. You die here, and that's it." Goku is exhausted from the previous fight and he can't move. He still has strength despite being hit by that explosion. She's an extremely powerful angel, however her wound is not healing, and so she tries to get up slowly. Vermoth approaches and with his foot he pushes her down, causing Vados to have her face rubbing on the ground. Goku, seeing this scene, becomes enraged and starts screaming, "You bastard! I will never forgive you! Stop doing that right now! Do it against me! Kill me! Or I'll go! I will!" Vermoth interrupts Goku and says, "What will you do? Die faster? Yeah, see that? I know everything that's going on. I know the great and mighty Zeno-sama has had enough of us and has sent you on a suicide mission to finish us off. But you don't stand a chance because we're gods. We're deities. And you? Oh, you are just a bunch of mediocre rubbish. I won't let you if you want to hurt me. I am a god, you ridiculous creature." At that moment, Goku picks up a rock and throws it, hitting Vermoth's face. And at that moment, he explains, "You are a weak god." The god, standing there in front with his nose bleeding, feels offended and humiliated by the reckless attitude of Goku, who is on the ground unable to move, completely exhausted and injured. And yet, he still tries to face the deity in front of him. At this moment, the god smiles and says, "You disgusting me, cockroach. I will crush you. But before that, I will exterminate this woman first. How about that?" Vermoth holds Vados by the hair and hits her stomach with a punch that makes her spit blood. Then he stretches out her hand and points it towards her face. At this moment, a word is uttered slowly and say, "Hakai." A ball of energy explodes on Vados' face, and that destructive energy surrounds her, causing her to scream with pain and despair. Vermoth starts to laugh. Yeah, yes! Now she dies. The energy from that Hakai starts causing slow damage to the angel's body, who is on the floor, writhing. Her skin starts to disintegrate, and Goku screams, "No, Vados!" Goku tries to crawl towards her, but fails. Vados looks at Goku with a teary eyes and says, "Lord Goku, I'm sorry. I don't think I can. I am not going to. I won't be able to watch you fight anymore." Right now, on the verge of being annihilated by Vermoth Sakai, Vados begins to faint. Goku, who doesn't have enough strength to help her, is desperate. When suddenly a glow arises from her chest, her body starts to change. A symbol begins to form on her forehead. And in that instant, Goku transforms again in God Goku Killer. But this time, his transformation is different. His hair is longer, his muscles are denser, and the heat emanating from his body was simply frightening. His presence is more imposing than before. At this moment, Goku God Killer has evolved again, and his God Killer form goes beyond. And in this way, he attains the second stage of his God-killing form. Goku moves in a blink of an eye, and as he steps in front of Vados, the energy of destruction dissipates. He starts walking towards Belmoth, slowly, who starts to get scared and says, Hey, what are you doing? You managed to stop my Hakai from afar! Wait, no, do not approach, or I'll kill you! Goku says, Shut up. With slow and somber steps, Goku approaches, and with his frightening presence, he goes towards Vermoth. When Goku gets close enough, Vermoth tries to attack him. Vermoth approaches by expulsion and attacks Goku. With a single hand, Goku holds his punch and begins to break all Vermoth's fingers. At this moment, Goku says, What did you think you were doing with Vados? How dare you get this dirty hands on her? As Goku said more, he squeezed and broke Vermoth's hand. Goku twists his arm and he starts screaming because Goku was breaking his arm. With the other hand, Vermoth punches Goku in the face, who doesn't even move from the place. And at that moment, Goku with the palm of his hand delivers a single slap. Vermoth is thrown back, destroying a mountain that was there, and all the debris begins to fall. Goku uses his teleportation and goes to his enemy, holding his neck. So Vermoth says, It was just a joke, Mr. Goku. Apparently, he starts begging for his life. Goku, who had already lost the sparkle in his eye, was actually behaving like a true Saiyan warrior in his God Killer form, looking deeper into Vermoth's eyes and say, Your life ends here. Then Goku, holding Vermoth's neck, says, Akai. That wave of energy fired only hits the head of Vermoth that disintegrates in the air, falling down only the body of it. Then Goku descends to the ground and returns to his base form and remembers that Vados is lying on the ground almost lifeless. As we are shown, Goku's injuries had healed when he transformed. Goku quickly goes to Vados. As he approached, Goku begins to feel the same pain that made him go after the gods. And at that time he says, Vados! Here, I brought your staff! Vados! Come on! Damn it! I couldn't protect you. It's my fault. Please don't die. Vados slowly opens her eyes and starts to say,
Mr. Goku, don't cry for me. I just need to get my energy back.
Vados slowly starts to heal. Goku says in a low voice, Vados, I won't let you die. We'll stay here until you recover and slowly heal. Close your eyes. Goku holds her in his arms and says, I will take care of you. It doesn't matter what I have to do. Goku takes Vados to his cube and lays her down and starts cleaning her wounds. As Goku takes care of Vados, he remembers the moment Vados was attacked and almost lost her life, and then Goku starts to say, I will get stronger, so I don't have to watch people close to me die again. Goku, while holding Vados to improve, Goku begins his training there on the planet where they were. Goku begins to train his movements. Some moments Goku tries to pass his second transformation again, but he couldn't because Goku didn't understand why he wasn't succeeding. Goku screamed. An immense amount of energy is released, but that's all. Goku couldn't get through to his second transformation. A few days passed. Goku continued training more without success. Goku, who had already trained enough, notices that the sun starts to set on that planet. Goku decides to go back to the cube where he had left Vados. When approaching, Goku feels an energy, so Goku starts to run because he thought that Vados was in danger. Upon arriving, he sees Vados standing, so Goku recovers and asks, Vados, how are you feeling? Goku can't hide how happy he is to have Vados back with him. So again, Goku asks, Come on, tell me, are you alright? Goku gets her cheeks pink with embarrassment and says,
I told you I was pretty strong. I wouldn't die like that.
Vado is relieved to see Goku there. So she asks,
Goku, what happened? No. Mr. Goku, what happened while I was unconscious?
Goku then explains to her what had happened and says with tears in his eyes, Vados, I understand if you don't want to follow me to the destruction of the gods of destructions. After all, I put your life in danger. If you want, you can go back to Zenosama's palace. You'll be safe there. Then Vados interrupts him saying,
But Mr. Goku, I wanted to come with you then. I already knew what would happen. But even so, I decided to observe you. And I intend to continue if you still want my company. So let's go now. We need to go after the next god of destruction, right?
Goku is relieved to hear this, and so they leave, leaving that planet behind. Gohan and Goku are transformed into Super Saiyans, one in front of the other, ready to start their fight. At this moment, Goku is really impressed. It has been a long time since he had faced Gohan in a fight, and he wanted to see how strong his son had become. Goku is the first to attack and goes towards Gohan with everything he's got. Gohan dodges, but still gets hit by a kick from Goku that makes him stagger. Gohan looks at Goku and says, Dad, you really are incredibly powerful. I don't know if I can beat you, but I know I can hit you. Gohan closes his fist and throws an incredible punch. Goku dodges and then receives a sharp kick that throws him away. The battle is starting to get interesting though. In another corner of the planet, Vegeta is alone and is training. Vegeta concentrates his ki and begins to transform into a Super Saiyan. He starts delivering several blows in the air, hitting a rock, which disintegrates. Then Vegeta says, I can't lose to Kakarot. I need to get stronger. Everyone is training hard. The Z Warriors were looking towards to the tournament that took place in 9 days. Krillin is training when suddenly number 18 arrives and says,
Krillin, I bought you some juice. Come and freshen up. Your training is so hard.
Krillin goes to number 18 and takes the juice and says, Oh my, this juice is wonderful. 18 says,
Yes, I made it especially for you.
And with a death glare, she says,
If I lose the tournament prize after I gave up winning the television at Bulma's house, I'll kill you.
Krillin in panic's response, No, my love, I'm going to win. You'll see. So Krillin goes back to training. Meanwhile, in the palace of the ancient gods, time is questioning. My brothers and sisters, it is no longer time to send our warrior to Earth. Because there on Earth, there are only 9 days left to start the tournament. In that instant, Chaos responds, I would have already sent him and he wouldn't even have to go through this tournament, you idiots. So Reality says, I already warned you that he can lose. Be realistic. My brothers tells the time. Call up my brothers. Our warrior is ready to go. At that moment, Danketsu says, I will not let them down. I will defeat this Beyonder Goku. At that moment, the ancient gods put their hands towards Danketsu. A strong light begins to emerge, and Danketsu is slowly teleported to the planet Earth. Arriving on planet Earth, Danketsu is surprised, as he has never seen such beautiful planet before. Danketsu is impressed with the place. Then he begins to wonder why the ancient gods want the destruction of the being from this place. He shakes his head and starts to say, I need to stay focused. My masters gave me an order. And at that moment, he passes by a coffee shop and stops because he had never seen or smelled anything like that before. He stops and looks at what would be a cupcake. When he don't, he observes that Vidal leaves the cafeteria, and she passes by him and notices that he is standing there watching things. Then Vidal goes on and says,
Hey, how's it going?
Danketsu answers, Yeah, I'm just admiring how perfect everything here seems to be. So Vidal says,
Do you want to taste something from around here?
And then he says, Yes, and points to a muffin. Vidal invites him for coffee and then spends hours talking. In the meantime, we're back to training the Z Warriors. Goku and Gohan continue to fight an intense and arduous battle. Goku pummels his son with several punches and kicks Gohan counterattacks using his speed to distract Goku, who is impressed and says,
Gohan, my son, congratulations. You're really strong. You don't even look like it, but my little boy, you're strong. Gohan smiles and continues to fight as he doesn't want to lose to his father. Then Gohan stops in the air and asks, Dad, you know, Dad, having a child makes life so different. Goku then responds, Yeah, Chi-Chi was also strange when very hungry though. Then her belly started to get huge, and when I least expected it, she started screaming, and then I heard you cry. And that was my experience. Gohan is horrified by what happened to his father and begins to think about Videl, the other side of the planet, in the cafeteria. Videl sneezes, looks around, and says, Someone's talking about me. Then she smiles. Dunketsu doesn't understand why she sneezed and said someone was talking about her, so he asks, Videl, you can hear what people say from around the world? Videl responds, It's more than that, and of course not. It's just an expression we use when we sneeze. Videl says goodbye and says she needs to go, but if he wants to meet her tomorrow, she would be there too. She walks away and then leaves. So Dunketsu questions the old gods. My lords, why do you want destruction? The beings of this planet are not so strong and it doesn't even seem like a threat to our majesties. At this moment he hears a voice. You have duties on Earth. Fulfill them and you will be well rewarded. He goes to the big arena where the tournament will take place and registers. At this time, he's faced with Mr. Satan and Mr. Boo. And he sees Mr. Satan walking with his hat down and says, What a bummer. I could wipe out all these warriors right now. Mr. Boo answers, More, Mr. Satan? Weren't you just shaking and hiding? Mr. Satan answers, But of course not. I was just, training a new power. When Dunketsu passes through it and a very powerful energy hangs in the air, Mr. Satan feels oppressed by that pressure. When Dunketsu passes through them, a very powerful energy hangs in the air. Mr. Satan feels oppressed by that pressure and hides behind Boo. Then asks, What is your name? Dunketsu says, It doesn't matter. I hear what you said, and I'd love to beat you up in the tournament. Mr. Satan, tremendous, responds, I'll be waiting for you there. So Dunketsu continues on his way, and Mr. Satan, tremendous, says to Boo, Will you help me? Mr. Boo, please help me. At that moment, Boo looks from the corner of Mr. Satan and answers more, and of course, I already told you that I would defeat everyone and let you defeat me with just one punch. Mr. Satan feels relieved and finally manages to breathe normally. Meanwhile, in Piccolo's training, he continues to concentrate and meditate. He thinks, I need to improve my Makanko Sapo technique. It's not complete yet. I need to improve this technique. I want to surprise everyone, especially Gohan. Krillin manages to hone his most powerful attack, Kienzan. Number 18, seeing Krillin's effort, says, He has a chance to win. I will finally have a television bigger than Bulma's. Tenshinhan is full steam ahead training when he comes across an unusual being. He comes across Dunketsu and says, You have a strange presence. Dunketsu looks at that being and sees that he also has an unusual power. And he says, Where are you from? Sometimes I feel a little confused. But more accurately, I'm going to ask you, what is your name? Tenshinhan answers his name. And Dunketsu continues to say, You're not who I'm looking for. You know, a Goku guy? I don't know if it's right, but I need to destroy him. Tenshinhan then starts to say, You're a very strange being. I don't know if you're good or bad, but if you want to destroy one of my friends, I'll have to stop you. Dunketsu answers, Maybe I can fight you and put an end to my boredom. And so he goes to attack Tenshinhan. Then he releases all his energy made by the union of all the old gods. Tenshinhan jumps in the air and flies away from there because the pressure of those powers is impressive and he wouldn't stand a chance. So Tenshinhan goes to Goku's house. He arrives there and doesn't find anyone. At that moment, he sees Bulma washing the dishes and asks, Bulma? No, it's Chi-Chi, bro. At that moment, he sees Chi-Chi washing the dishes and asks, Chi-Chi, where's Goku? Chi-Chi responds, I don't know. He's training with Gohan. He doesn't even remember that he exists. Chi-Chi keeps saying,
He went over there.
And points to the side towards Tenshinhan, who immediately flies away. He finds Goku and Gohan training and says, "Goku, I need to talk to you." Goku loses concentration and takes a kick from Gohan that sends him flying towards the ground, making a hole where he had been thrown. At that time, Gohan sees and asks, "Dad, are you okay? Did I hurt you?" Goku smiling responds, "No, Gohan, I just lost my concentration a little bit." "Wait just a second. No, Gohan, I just lost my concentration a little bit. Just wait here. We'll continue fighting later." Goku uses his teleportation and goes to Tenshinhan and says, "What happened, Tenshinhan?" The terrified Tenshinhan says, "I found a very powerful being that didn't seem to be from this planet. He almost faced me, but I ran away from it. And from the looks of it, to me, he has no sense of right or wrong. He just had a bewildered and cold look. That being's very powerful, Goku. Maybe we'll have problems with him on the loose out here." Goku calmly responds, There, Tenshinhan. If he causes problems, we'll fix it, okay?" Now there are only 8 days left for the tournament.
Dunketsu, who had been sent to Earth in order to participate in Mr. Satan's tournament, and so to test what Goku's strengths are, he found himself in a dilemma. He didn't know if he was a good or evil being. He didn't know if it should be good or bad. Dunketsu had a pure soul, but he had many doubts in his mind. At that moment, we can observe Dunketsu on a busy street in the northwest region of the country in a gigantic and populous city. In this city, the great tournament would take place. At that moment, very strong winds begins to emerge. The sky darkens, clouds begin to form. A big storm is about to start. Many people pass from one side to the other in a hurry, some covering their heads with something they held in their hands, others with umbrellas, and the raindrops begins to fall. Dunketsu runs to a corner of the street where he tries to hide under the balcony of an establishment that had 2 floors, having a small balcony where Dunketsu sits while he sees several people walking around him. He notices that he's ignored most of the time. Dunketsu just watches as everyone passes him. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, Gohan, Tenshinhan, and Goku finish their training and head back to Goku's house so they can have something to eat. After all, Goku was hungry. Gohan asks Tenshinhan, "Did the weird guy you talked about seem to be strong?" Tenshinhan answers, "I can't say, I couldn't feel his ki, but his presence was very weird." Goku starts to say, "Wow, that's amazing. I mean, even if you couldn't fight him, but still, that's amazing." Tenshinhan says, "Man, I couldn't face him at all. Just the presence he had made me want to run away." Goku is impressed and extremely curious to meet that being. And at that moment, Goku says, "I hope he participates in the tournament then. I can't wait to fight him." Gohan and Tenshinhan looks at Goku and both smile. After all, Goku never changes, and always a battle freak. Meanwhile, Dunketsu is still sitting in the rain on that cold and lonely sidewalk. Everyone who passes ignores him. Everyone who passes pretends not to see him. Dunketsu keeps his head down, listening to the sound of cars passing by, watching people treating him like it's nothing. Suddenly a child, a small homeless person with a newspaper on his head trying to avoid the rain, approaches and says, "Hey, what are you doing here, mister? If it continues to rain, you'll get sick." Dunketsu just gets curious and doesn't say anything. But the boy reaches down and takes his hand, and he says, "You don't have anywhere to go either, do you? Come with me then, we can help." The little boy with torn clothes, barefoot, and with a dirty face pulls Dunketsu by the arm and starts walking Dunketsu, and he doesn't understand very well, but starts to follow the boy. The two run to an alley where there was a large cover made with some wood and old tiles, and when they go under, they can see a hole in the wall. The boy says to Dunketsu, "You can come, it's safe," and Dunketsu follows him as he enters the hole. The two find themselves inside an old shed with cobwebs, several broken machines with some leaks and some wet places due to the rain. The little boy says, "Hey, my name is Raito, and you can enter here for a while." Dunketsu says, "But do you live here?" My name is Dunketsu. Why did you bring me here?" Raito says,
Now, you were out in the rain, and so I thought you might get sick. So I decided to help.
But why? Why you didn't ignore me like everyone else? And the boy says with a smile on his face,
It's because I know what it's like to be out on the street alone, and I thought maybe you needed some help, so I decided to help. I live here with my brother and sister. Well, we're not exactly brothers, but they help me, and they'll help you too.
Dunketsu asks, where are they? And Raito responds,
Oh, they must be scared, and they hid. They're not used to seeing someone different coming here.
At this time, Raito screams,
Ah, Nozomi! They can leave! It's cool!
Ketsu looks around and sees a boy and a girl emerging from under a shadow cast by a pillar. And the two say,
Nice to meet you, young man.
Iwa approaches with a piece of bread and says,
You want it? You must be hungry. You can eat with me. And my brother already ate a little, so...
Dunketsu's eyes glisten when he sees this and he accepts the bread. The three sit on some pieces of cardboard and start talking. It seems that the weather starts to get cold due to the rain and the children starts to shiver. Raito says,
Don't worry, when the rain stops, it'll be warmer, and then we can find some food.
Dunketsu looks at the keys and starts looking around. He gathers some scraps of old wood and paper, and in a safe place over there, next to them, he makes a pile of those things he has gathered. Then Dunketsu brings his hands together, looks at the stacked woods, and then places his hands on top of them. And in moments, a small spark starts to stand out. It starts to catch fire, and a small bonfire is created. And the children look at it with eyes full of joy. And Raito questions,
Are you a magician too? That's amazing!
And Dunketsu responds, I don't know, but I think so. The children approach the fire to warm up, and Nozomi was holding a flyer for a store with some food and stamped doses. And Dunketsu asks, What is that? And the boy answers,
It's just a few things to eat that I promised them, and as soon as the rain stops, I'll try to get them somehow.
Dunketsu takes the flyer and places it on the floor on top of the sheet of cardboard. And he repeats the gesture of before, and in moments a small curtain of colored smoke appears in the midst of a glow. And when the smoke dissipates, we can see a feast in front of them, with all the foods that were on the flyer. Children get extremely euphoric, asking,
How did you do that? Where did all that food came from?
Dunketsu answers, You can eat. And the children are extremely happy. At this moment, we can see Vegeta, who falls to the ground on his knees and begins to undo his transformation. Vegeta says,
Finally! I finally got over you, Kakarot!
Elsewhere, we can see Krillin and 18 training together. And in the frozen mountains, we can see Piccolo, who is meditating. Goku, Gohan, and Tenshinhan arrive at Goku's house and are greeted by Trunks and Chi-Chi, who had already prepared a feast. Everyone eats and decides to take some time to rest. They go to the top of the mountain and stay close to the edge, watching everything. And the view was beautiful. Several animals, trees, rivers could be seen from there. They lie down and look at the sky. Suddenly, Goku says to Gohan, These days I had a strange dream. I dreamed that I had become a god, and my powers were greater than anything we've ever seen before, and in this dream my hair was red. Everyone looks with a face of astonishment. Apparently Goku started having some flash of his previous life. Goku continues to say, I think it was just a silly dream, but I will train and work hard. Maybe I can raise my power to that level. Gohan looks without reaction. After all, he had no idea what Goku was talking about. Meanwhile, in the kingdom of the ancient gods, everyone was waiting anxiously for the tournament. After all, it would be in this tournament that they would find out if Dunketsu would be able to face Goku. The gods then make a big decision. Chaos then says, Brothers, is it decided? Will we see the big tournament in person? Space then responds, Yes, we will have humans' forms and we will be able to follow everything closely. Don't you agree? Everyone watches and simply say yes. The great ancient gods decide that they will assume human forms so that they can see the tournament live. Things begins to unravel and the tournament will soon begin. Only 5 days left for the tournament.
To be continued. What would Danketsu do to solve his doubts? What will happen now that the ancient gods have decided to go to Earth? Regardless of what it is more than important that you already expose it here in your comments so that we can enter into that crazy debate. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. And that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.